What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Let's Be Real. In this today's video, what we're gonna be talking about is substance abuse. So, substance abuse is a huge issue, right, in a lot of people's lives, and it's definitely been mine as well. Um, what drugs have I used? So, in my life, I've used a few. Okay. Uh, I've used cocaine, and that was my number one go-to drug. Of course, I smoked weed before. I've popped a pill probably like one time. Um, I never was really into pills. I was not into downers, period. I was more into uppers. Oh, and by the way, by no means, when I talk about, in this video, when I'm talking about these drugs, right? And telling these stories, by no means am I trying to glorify the situation or glorify drugs at all. So definitely, if you're watching this video, don't think that I'm over here trying to make it a joke out of this situation, because definitely drug abuse is a very serious subject. And so if you don't do drugs, keep it that way. If you've never tried a drug, keep it that way. Stay drug free, please. It would definitely ruin your life. It's definitely had a major effect on mine. Negative effects, all negative. You will never have a positive effect on drugs. I don't care what anybody says or how fun they say that it is or how cool it is. Don't do it. Just stay away from it. So I just want y'all to know that, so that way y'all don't think that I'm glorifying the subject. But okay, so back on it. So I've smoked weed, pop pills, did cocaine. Cocaine I've done, that's including both forms, hard and soft, smoking it too. Um, so yeah, that's what I've done. First time use. And alcohol is obviously one of this. This is alcohol and drugs. So the first time that I drank was 15 years old. I first drank at 15 years old, and ever since then, once I took that first drink, I remember being 15 and somebody asking me, "Hey, you want a drink?" I was with somebody, they were drinking, and they said, "Do you want a beer?" I said, "Sure." I don't know who's gonna really turn down a beer if you ask them. You ask a 15-year-old, "You want a beer?" I mean, unless they're really smart, which I probably wasn't. And so I was like, "Yeah, sure." I drank that beer, and I remember it was Budweiser. That was my very first beer, and I I probably drank like 3 beers and got drunk. That was it. That was it. After that, that was it, and I just continued on. It was a habit after that. I mean, not a severe habit, but every time that person, once they seen that I did want to drink, they're like, okay. Every time they were drinking, "You want to drink with me?" So yeah. So it went on like that. 16 years old is whenever I got into drugs. Actually, I smoked weed at 15. That was my first experience with weed as well. When I was in my first year of ninth grade. But then, so 16 years old, on weed I really wasn't into either. I really wasn't into weed either. It never really caught my attention like that. So I never got hooked on it. A lot of guys and girls, I know girls too, they smoke weed all day, every day. But so a lot of guys, like, they just get stuck on that. I don't know, but I didn't. So 16 years old, I got into drugs, like cocaine. That was my first time doing cocaine. I was with an older guy. He was actually a boyfriend of my sister's, right? Dang, I'm putting my sister on blast. But he was her boyfriend, and for some reason, I don't know, because I always used to hang out with older people anyways, and I just think that I had a mature personality at that time, or I just had that, I just was comfortable around older guys, or I don't know, that's how it was. And so I was chilling with him, and he was doing some powder, and he offered it to me. He said if I wanted a bump. So I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And so I did. I took a bump, and I liked the way it made me feel. And then ever since then, it just, every time I was around him and he had it, he would give me a bump or a line, and then it just went from there. It just went from there, and Man, if I could go back, if I go back though and take that time back and say, I would have said no. If I would have known all the troubles and everything that came with it, I would have definitely said no. But I can't, you know. But that was my first time, and then, along the way, like I've popped a pill, like I said, one time or whatever, and it really wasn't nothing. It really wasn't a big deal. Like I said, I never was into downers. Just didn't like the way it made me. I guess that's why I didn't get stuck on weed, because whenever I smoke weed, which I don't smoke, right? But whenever I would smoke weed, all I would want to do is just like just crash out on the sofa and watch like a movie or something. But yeah, so that's why I never really got into weed. The effects and the struggles that drugs, alcohol and drugs have had on my life, man. Mm-mm-mm. That's why I said if I could take it back, if I could go back. I was only 15 years old when I started drinking. Like, that was way too early, way too early. And if I could take it back, I would, and I would have stayed in school, and I would have graduated. But I feel like when I started at such a young age, 15 and 16 years old, and after that, I just kept on going. Like, it just became an all the time thing. Every time I was around, because my family drinks, my sisters drink, and every time, and I'm not saying this to put my family on blast, but it is what it is. My family was the first ones that my family was the first ones that I drank with and I started drinking with, and it's not their fault. I don't blame them. They were showing the exact same thing, and that's just how we were raised up. And a lot of families are like, a lot of Hispanic families from the hood are like that. And maybe you don't know. Maybe if you don't know any families like that, there's a lot, especially in the hood. Like that's how we were raised. So it's that alcohol and drugs have had, man, really negative effect on me. They're affecting me in my career, relationships, money, emotional heartache. Just I've done so many messed up things while I was high or drunk. I've hurt a lot of people. I've hurt myself a lot. Just by making all the stupid mistakes, stupid choices that I've made. Like, nobody, you're not, I don't care what people say, you're not the same. If you get super drunk, you're not the same as when you're sober. And you might think you are in your mind, but you're not. I definitely can turn into an ugly person at times whenever I'm drunk and messed up. I've gotten into fights. I've cussed people out. I've done stupid stuff. Ended up in jail because of actions that I've done whenever I was under the influence, and it's crazy. But yeah, um, money, money, man, I would be so much further in my life. Like, I know that I said that depression and anxiety, right? They affected my life a lot. Well, depression and anxiety, I already deal with that. Now, if you add on alcohol and drugs, now what? Now that's just a whole nother issue on top of the issues already. So, man, I would be so much further if I did not have addiction problems. Um, and I'm not saying that I do right now, because I'm working on things right now. But if I did not, I'm 28 years old. I started this whenever I was 15 and 16 years old. So all the way up to now, I've struggled. I've struggled because I've struggled with the addiction. I've struggled with not being able to stop drinking. I've struggled with not being able to stop doing powder on the side. Like, and it's hard. It's messed me up bad. It's messed me up really, really bad. And I've heard a lot of people, like I said, in relationships, long-term relationships. I've hurt people because of my actions. Like, I would party too much. I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. I couldn't choose them. I couldn't choose them over the alcohol, or them over drugs. Like, I would always go to and choose that. And leaving, going and partying, going on binges, like, all that's a part of it, and it's a sad part of it. But it is. It's a part of it. I wish I could go back and change the past and go back and fix those things, but I can't. And then, man, if I were to tell you the times that almost like risking your life, really risking your life, because obviously you escalate in drugs. I went from being 16 years old doing one bump to growing and building a tolerance and just wasting a lot of money. I used to, man, I used to go right after getting paid. I remember at one of my jobs, right after getting paid, $600-700, and I would go and go to a bar or something like that after when I was supposed to be home. Right, I was supposed to go home, but I wouldn't go home. I would go out to the bar and just waste all my money. Waste all my money. Be gone for the weekend. Waste it all. By the time I went home, I wouldn't have no money, and that's sad. That's a sad situation. I know other people, other guys who have done the same thing, and they were on drugs too. Like, and that's what happens. I remember scary times. You know, there was a lot of scary times. A few times I didn't learn my lesson the first time. I remember one time. You know, I was doing cocaine, and I was by myself in the apartment, and I had did so much. I did so much that I literally started feeling my heart like it felt like it was just gonna bust. It was gonna bust. Like my heart was beating so fast, and then it got to the point where I felt like it was not beating regular no more. It was like slow, and I started feeling like dizzy, and I know that I don't know. I feel like I was gonna OD. You know, I really did think. I started praying, and I asked God to forgive me because I really thought that my heart was gonna give out right then and there, and that's a scary feeling. And then, you know, like, they're so stupid. I already deal with anxiety. If you think about it, like, that's so stupid. Why would you risk your life? You already have anxiety issues, plus you're gonna do coke, which it gets your heart rate going anyways. Like, it's stupid. It really is. And when I was doing this, when I was writing this stuff down, like, I could see myself, and I look at myself, and I'm like, man, when I read this out loud, all the effects that it's had on my life, I can't believe that I would keep on doing it, you know. And it's sad, and a lot of people don't even know this about me. But like I said, I'm being real and I'm being honest. And if anybody out there is dealing with the same thing, just know that you're not alone. And I know it's hard. I know it is. I know it's hard because I fought it for years. I fought it for years. It's already, you know, it's over 10 years. And so it's hard, and people don't understand. People don't understand addiction, you know, because if you don't have that issue, there's people who have broken it easy, and then there's people, or it's been like a, you know, or it was just a decision for them. But then there's people who, I don't know what it takes. It takes a lot for them to finally decide that they're gonna stop doing and making these mistakes and going back to it, because it's like, just like what they say, going back to your own vomit. That's what it is. You're going back to your own vomit, and going back to that stuff that you know, even though you know it's hurting you, you're still doing it. Even though I knew what it was doing to my life, even though every single time I would fall back, I would do good for a while, and then I would fall back into it, and I would get so depressed with myself, like, man, I was just doing so good. I was 6 months clean. Then I just, you know, I would decide to have a beer or go and buy some powder. And once you do that, it's pretty much over with. You know, you're not gonna be able to stop yourself. And you might be asking, why were you doing it? Why were you getting high? And I've asked myself that, and I feel like like I said, I've always had a lot of issues, and I explained that to y'all. Um, but so I feel that, in a sense, I was covering up a lot of my issues whenever I would get messed up. Um, you know, when you're a person who's dealing with all those issues, sometimes it feels good to be able to just get your mind off of them. Or when you're drinking, when I was drinking, I wasn't thinking about all the stuff that was putting me. I didn't feel sad. I felt good. I liked the way it feels when I was buzzing, when I'm you know, when I'm drinking. It's a good feeling, I guess, to me. And then the same thing goes when I would do drugs. Like, it would get my mind off of things. I wasn't thinking about anything else. And so, but that's a messed up way, because it doesn't fix anything. People say, okay, you get high because of your problems, but then you're causing more problems. Really, realistically, you're causing more problems by doing that. You're causing more problems for yourself to trying to forget problems and you're causing more problems. Like it's just a never-ending cycle, and it definitely is. Like I said, it's never gonna help you. Never gonna help you. Where am I at now? In my walk with alcohol and drugs. Look, I'm not here to be perfect. I'm here to be real. Okay, so anybody out there, look, I'm not here to be perfect, and I'm not here to judge nobody. All I'm doing is trying to release this stuff and talk about this stuff for myself, and if anybody's out there struggling with the same thing. But no, I'm not saying that I don't know, like I still drink. I still drink from time to time. I haven't drank recently. I've actually been clean for a little, a little bit, but I'm not drinking right now. But I'm not saying I'm not on here trying to pretend like I got it all together, because I don't. I don't have it all together. I know things that I'm trying to build myself right now. I want to live a happy life. I want to live a long life, and I know that drugs and alcohol, they're not going to. You might as well throw that long life out the window, because so many people pass away from alcohol related disease, cirrhosis of the liver, and so many people die from overdoses. And I've heard stories of people who just do powder one time, and it might have had some stuff in it, laced, and you didn't know about it, and then you're gone. You had an OD, and so I definitely know that. But I'm just, like I said, I'm not on here to be perfect. I'm not on here to judge nobody. I'm just being real with it. But I do. There's certain, just like what I was saying about anxiety and depression. There's certain things that you could do to help yourself out in your battle with addiction. Just things that, just positive influences. Number one, you want to stay around people who are going to build you up, not break you down. People who are going to show you good things, not bad things. Don't put yourself around people that you know. If you have a problem with drinking, you have a problem with drugs, whatever drug that might be. If you got homeboys or you got homegirls that you know that they're doing that stuff, don't go around them. Stay away from them. That's not going to help you at all. I know who I can be around with. I know who I can't be around with, because I can't put myself around a situation where somebody, if I go to a party, alcohol is more easy for me to control myself around, but especially drugs. If I go somewhere and I see somebody doing bumps in the restroom, or like it's automatically gonna trigger me, and it's gonna be like, I'm gonna already start thinking about it, and that's where it starts. It starts up here, and when I start thinking about it, then I just keep on thinking about it until I take action, and then it goes from there. Then it's over. But so positive influences for sure. Get around people who are positive. Get away from people who are living that lifestyle if you're not trying to live that lifestyle. So yeah. And I don't know where you're at. I don't know if you're a believer or not. You go to church. Anybody out there listening? I don't know what your stance is on that. But me, I am a believer. I am a Christian believer, and so that's where I go to as well. So whatever religion you are, or whatever you believe in, I think that it's definitely a help. It's helped me, for sure. It helps me to go to church and to get that, to feed your soul, as somebody told me. You got to feed your soul. So for me, that works. So if you are any type of religion, hey, go to it, do that, and it's always gonna help, I think. Motivational videos, and that goes with the depression and anxiety too. I forgot to say that in the last video, but that's another thing that helps me out a lot. And whenever I get myself into a down and out mode, or if I'm trying to stay focused, I'll watch. All you gotta do is type in YouTube. There's so many different motivational videos on YouTube. It's crazy. You can look up video for depression, video for motivation, video to stop motivational speech for being lazy. Like everything and anything on YouTube and Google, you can pretty much find anything. So look them up. I watch I just put it on. I listen to it. Put the headphones in, and listen to it. And a lot of that stuff really helps. It's good to have that positive information going, positive words going into you like that. So it's definitely a help for me. And like I said, I mean, look, or there's plenty of places out there. rehabs and and facilities that want to help people out. And so I know that you can find something, look something up near you if you feel like the need to go to that extent. um, I went to I'm not gonna lie, I tried a rehab out, and I lasted like 1 week. And the place, though, it wasn't the greatest place. Mm, I don't know what to say about that place. Maybe I'll do a video on that, uh, maybe another time. But yeah, but I did check myself into a church rehab, and it just didn't work out though. But I know there's other rehabs, and I never did it again. I never did it again. It kind of put a bad taste in my mouth for that. But I know there's other places. So, but if not, like I said, just work on it yourself and try to strengthen your mind, because I think that's really where it's at, is your mind. If you're weak minded, you're gonna fall every single time. Try to strengthen yourself in that area. So yeah, and thank y'all again for watching this video. Like I said, just like and comment on these videos. Let me know what you think about it. Um, what about you? Do you agree with this? Like with the things I said. How do you feel about Because you might be like, man, I'm not addicted. But hey, if you're over there doing it all the time, every weekend, that's pretty much an addiction. And you might say, well, I could stop anytime I want. Okay, well, why don't you then? Because it ain't doing nothing for you. But yeah, like I said, like, share, comment. Make sure to go subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can be notified every single time that I post a video. And don't forget, if you ain't being real, then you're being fake. And that word fake don't really match me, so I'm going to be real. So yeah, I'll see y'all next week.